All right, good morning. We're going to go ahead and get started. My name is Kirsten Gardner. You've probably had contact with me if you registered for this webinar, but I work with Clark Catola Representation and oversee our portfolio of hotels in Central America, while Clark focuses on South America. Just so you know, I'm not going to stop the webinar for questions today, the webinar on Lapa Rios, but if you have any questions, please use the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. What I'll do is at the end of the webinar, I'm going to compile all of the questions from participants into one document with complete answers, send those out along with links to the recording of this webinar that you can use for your reference at any time, and all marketing and sales materials that will help you sell Lapa Rios. So Lapa Rios Lodge is a storied property on the southern end of the Osa Peninsula. Veterans who have been selling Costa Rica for a long time will know this, or very familiar with this property. It was really the first, one of the very first ecotourism concepts to emerge in Costa Rica. It was founded in the early 1990s by a pair of former Peace Corps volunteers, and they were very inspired by conservation that they saw happening in Africa, in East Africa specifically. So they wanted to apply this model of using tourism as a way to protect the environment, protect wildlife, and support local economies. They wanted to apply that model to Costa Rica, to an area, the Osa Peninsula, that has amazing, pristine Pacific lowland rainforest, but a lot of it was being decimated by ranching. There was some poaching happening, deforestation. So the owners bought the original owners bought a 1,000-acre private rainforest reserve, established this lodge. It became one of the first flagship properties of the National Geographic Unique Lodges of the World collection. And that's because of these commitments to what they call the 3 pillars of sustainability. That is, a property has to be good for the economy, so support the local people, protect the environment, and also promote the social and cultural well-being of the community that it's close to. And we're having this webinar today because even though Lapa Rios has been around for a long time, since the early 90s, there's been a lot of changes happening. We're really excited that the owners of Pacuare Lodge, the Fernandez and Loeb families, that's Luz Caceres, Roberto Fernandez, and Natalia Fernandez on the right, they purchased and took ownership of Lapa Rios in July of 2019. And they own the storied Pacuare Lodge, which is an incredible adventure property, another National Geographic Unique Lodge of the World. Roberto is a true adventure tourism pioneer in Costa Rica. He started working as a raft and adventure guide in the 80s. He founded his own company, travel company, and then built Pacuare Lodge in 1995. And this property, it's another National Geographic Unique Lodge. It's obviously Costa Rican owned and operated, amazing experience. We are not representing Pacuare Lodge, we represent Lapa Rios, but because of the ownership and the synergy and similarities, I'm going to be referring to it a lot throughout this webinar. But before we jump into Lapa Rios and some of the changes, I wanted to review a little bit about Costa Rica and just different areas, especially if I know we have some travel advisors attending this webinar that aren't as familiar with Costa Rica as some other people are, specifically like what makes it such a cool destination for wildlife lovers, for adventure enthusiasts. So the entire country is only about 20,000 square miles, so roughly the size of West Virginia. You have the continental divide that goes down the center of the country, Pacific Ocean on one side, Caribbean on the other. So that combination of oceans, mountains, wind creates an incredibly diverse country. Lots of different ecosystems here, from the coastal dry forests up in Guanacaste. You have the cloud forests in Monteverde and around the center of the country, the Caribbean coast. is very, very different than Pacific, extremely lush, a little bit more rainfall. And then down here, Manuel Antonio, this is actually where the rainforest starts. So true rainforest from about here south along the Pacific coast is where you really get into some of those plants and wildlife that people associate with the rainforest. And then down here on the Osa Peninsula, this is where Lapa Rios is located. About 25% of the entire country has been protected as a national park. So think about 1/4 of West Virginia is completely parkland. And then the Osa is almost all national park and preserve. This large park here you see is Corcovado National Park. This is often considered to be the crown jewel among all of the Costa Rican parks because of its incredible biodiversity. And why the Osa? National Geographic, you probably know, it's been repeated many times, has called it the most biologically intense place on Earth, home to 2.5% of all of the planet's biodiversity. So that's plants, animals, amphibian, fish, birds. And it's not only the tropical rainforest that makes it so unique, it's also the presence of the Golfo Dulce. And the Golfo Dulce, or sweet water, it's a tropical fjord. It's one of only a handful in the world, and it's incredibly deep. It's about 700 feet deep at its deepest point. So although you do have beautiful sandy, shallow beaches, you have really deep channels. And what this does is this allows your larger marine species, particularly your humpback whales, to come into the fjord along with dolphins and sharks and rays and other wildlife that is there year-round. And for me, personally, this is what makes this area so special and unique in the world. I have worked in Latin American travel for more than a decade now. I've been to rainforests in Peru, in Ecuador, in Brazil, and there's nowhere like the Osa Peninsula and Lake Lapa Rios. You have, as I mentioned, incredible terrestrial diversity with your mammals and your birds, your amphibians. The Osa is home to all 4 species of monkey that you'll find in Costa Rica. It's home to a number of cats, obviously a little bit harder to see, but there's ocelots, jaguars, jaguarundis, pumas. It's a birder's paradise. I believe there's around 460 species of bird that call the Osa Peninsula home. And Lapa itself is actually the name for scarlet macaws. You have your sloths, your tapirs, which is a really good reason to go to Corcovado National Park. That's this creature down on the right in the corner. You'll almost definitely see them there as opposed to on the Lapa Rios Reserve. And I'll talk about a new fast boat option to get your clients to Corcovado National Park a little bit later. But you have all of this incredible wildlife. And in Lapa Rios, it's almost a Galapagos experience, the way that birds and monkeys and sloths will be just present and in front of you outside the main lodge or on your balcony. They're almost completely fearless, and the lapas flying overhead. But you also have the marine species. As I mentioned, the humpback whales are there in huge numbers. Costa Rica actually has the longest humpback whale watching season of anywhere in the world. They're present from July through September, and they're typically giving birth to their young. So you'll see baby whales, or they're in the breeding process. So they're very active, jumping and breaching. You have these megapods of dolphins, numbers up to 300 that you'll see sometimes in Golfo Dulce. And turtle hatching and turtle breeding season, there's 4 different species that come to the Osa Peninsula to lay their eggs and breed and hatch. The most prolific is the olive ridley, and that's what you see up there on the left. That's with the Turtle Osa Conservation Group at Piro Beach, where you can actually go out and do citizen science research. It's a very early morning departure from Lapa Rios Lodge. But then you get to document the turtles, you measure their shell, you weigh all of them, and then with your group, you kind of usher them into the sea and hope they make it. So that's a really fun experience. That's an additional cost. That's very research-based that your clients can do at Lapa Rios. So you have this incredible mix of marine wildlife, of rainforest wildlife, on this one little point of land that's like a little thumb sticking out from southern Costa Rica. And then Lapa Rios itself has the best location on this peninsula for reasons I'll get into in a moment. It sits right at the southern point. So you have the Pacific here, you have the Golfo Dulce here, and Lapa Rios is kind of right above this amazing point break for surfing. Quickly for access, you can reach Lapa Rios a couple of different ways. Easiest is going to be flying into Puerto Jimenez on Sansa. That's Costa Rica's domestic airline. Excellent safety record, really easy short flight. It takes about 40 minutes, 45 minutes to fly from San Jose to Puerto Jimenez. And the Sansa terminal is right outside the international terminal. So depending on when your clients arrive, they can get an escort to walk them right from the international terminal to Sansa, take a 45-minute flight to Puerto Jimenez. They'll be met right on the tarmac by staff from Lapa Rios Lodge. They'll help them with their luggage, give them a cool drink, and then take them in a very, very comfortable four-wheel drive vehicle on the journey down into the rainforest. The road is unpaved, but it's in good condition, but there's some adventurous stream crossings that just kind of add to the excitement that you're going somewhere really cool and off the grid. And that takes about 45 minutes to get from Puerto Jimenez to Lapa Rios Lodge. One other arrival option would be flying into Golfito, where you would need to take a boat across the Golfo Dulce. This works well if you're combining Lapa Rios with Panama. And for larger groups, more than 4 people, definitely talk to your DMCs about charter flights, either helicopters or small aircraft. For more than 5, it's actually fairly economical to charter a small plane to move from place to place. And the advantage of that is you don't have to go back to San Jose, which is where a lot of the Sansa flights connect through. You can just go directly from like Puerto Jimenez to Limon, or if you want to go up to, for example, Santa Teresa or Nosara, you can just use your charter flight and go directly there instead of connecting back through San Jose. But to revisit why Lapa Rios, I think, has the best location and it is the best choice, especially for your high-end travelers to the Osa Peninsula, is you have all of that incredible wildlife in the forest, the marine life. So you can go hiking, you can go kayaking. Lapa Rios has incredible guides and experiences that are private to your guests when they're staying at Lapa Rios Lodge on their own 1,000-acre private nature reserve. That's all inland. And then the water is just incredible. This is Backwash Beach. This is one of 3 surf breaks that you have access to from Lapa Rios. This down here in the bottom left, that's Playa Pendulce. The waves look a little bit scarier in the top. That's more of your intermediate to expert break, and that's a bigger day. But here, down in the left, this is a point break. So it's really easy to just swim out without getting hit in the face by white water, sit out here in really shallow water, and catch these small, like knee to waist high waves. This guy down here on the right, he runs Pollo's Surf School. It's a little company down in Cabo Matapalo that Lapa Rios works really closely with. And they do stand-up paddleboarding tours, that he does surf instructions. For me personally, Lapa Rios and this break and this guy Pollo, it's the best surf experience you can have in Costa Rica for beginners. Not only because this wave is so easy to catch, but the blueness of the water, there might be dolphins swimming with you, macaws flying overhead. It's really a magical experience, unlike anywhere else I've been in Costa Rica. And at Lapa Rios, you have the best of both worlds. You have this 1,000-acre rainforest access. You have beach that you can walk to, sandy beach. This is Playa Pendulce. From the lower bungalows, which are the newest of the bungalows that the new owners are building. It's like a 10-minute walk downhill to this beautiful beach. And this, because it's on the Golfo Dulce side, the waves are smaller, it's safe for swimming, it's very gentle. There are some other lodges in the area that have, they're up on a ridge like Lapa Rios, they don't have the same access to the ocean. They're Pacific facing, so you really can't use the beach. The waves are way too big, it's not safe. Or they have sort of like a manicured resort feel, whereas Lapa Rios has been left very lush and wild. Some of these other properties have like trimmed lawns and just a really different vibe. But the other two things that really set Lapa Rios apart are their guides. It's very much a safari experience. I think you can sell this to your African clients with a lot of confidence. This is Denio. He is maybe the best guide on the Osa Peninsula. He's been with Lapa Rios since the property opened, and he is just a walking encyclopedia of knowledge for plants, medicinal plants, all animals. His bird calls are incredible. And he is one of 4 full-time guides at Lapa Rios, which is dedicated to taking your clients on explorations through the forest and the beach. And then the other thing that sets Lapa Rios apart now is are these changes. Luz and Roberto and Natalia, they addressed some of what I would call the previous maybe friction points with Lapa Rios or challenges for really convincing high-end luxury clients that they should stay, that they should make the journey down to the Osa and experience this wild place. And these were room renovations and updates. They have built 6 completely new rooms from the ground up that are absolutely exceptional 5-star experiences. Guest connectivity within the rooms was another issue. All of the rooms now come equipped with radios, so your guests can reach staff any time of day or night. The stairs at Lapa Rios, if you've been to the property, you'll probably remember there's a lot of stairs throughout the property, gorgeous pathways that you'll see tons of wildlife just walking to breakfast. But if you were staying down in some of the lower bungalows, it was a bit of a trek. And it's humid, so you'd be arriving at breakfast and you're already tired from the heat of the day. They are putting in a new path that's going to be about 250 meters away from the bungalows. So you won't have any noise. It won't be disturbing. But they're putting in a new path that can be accessed via electric carts. So guests, instead of having to use the stairs, will be able to call a cart, take it around the property, and have easier access to the main lodge or going down to the beach, very similar to what they already do at Pacuare Lodge. They've expanded the Wi-Fi in the common areas, and there's now fast boat access to Corcovado National Park. So and they've also done a number of sustainability upgrades, which I'm going to start with before we dive into the new rooms. So one of the first things that Luz and Roberto prioritized was converting Lapa Rios to 100% renewable energy. You might know in Costa Rica already, if you're on the grid, great. Most of the electrical power in Costa Rica, I think 99% of it is already generated from renewable resources. But a remote lodge like Lapa Rios, which was built in the 90s, it relied on a diesel generator for a long time. By the end of, I believe, February, they will have converted the entire lodge to running on hydro and solar power exclusively, mimicking what they've done successfully at Pacuare Lodge. They've also installed water-conserving toilets, new high-efficiency fans that keep the rooms very, very cool, but running one uses about the same energy over several hours as it uses to charge a cell phone, so extremely efficient. They're still committed to all of the principles that put Lapa Rios on the map and made it a National Geographic Unique Lodge property to begin with, employing 100% local Costa Ricans, sourcing all of their food locally, committing not to use single-use plastics. And then new this year is a conservation fee that Lapa Rios is starting to charge. I believe they started at the start of 2020. This is $25 per person per stay. So for a family of 4 staying 5 nights, it's only be an additional $100. And they're using this specifically to draw more researchers in, to formalize some of the research that's going on in Lapa Rios Reserve, to install more camera traps. They have a really successful jaguar tracking and conservation program in place at the rainforest surrounding Pacuare Lodge. They're going to be replicating that at Lapa Rios. And they really, a big thing is putting the money towards full-time clerical positions within Corcovado National Park. What they have right now, the system in the park, it's a huge area, and the rangers are also doing administrative tasks instead of being out on patrols the whole time. So they're raising money to install 2 new positions that will be dedicated to administration, so the rangers can stay out in the field patrolling, protecting this amazing national park from potential deforestation and poaching. And they'll be bringing more people to the property to talk to your guests about these programs and educate your guests on really being part of this whole conservation experience. They've made a number of upgrades to the dining and wellness programs at the properties. There's 2 completely new menus. Luz and Roberto brought in a chef that they're friends with from Greece. He's consulted with Pacuare Lodge on redoing their menus several years ago. It's been very successful. And they've just elevated the dining options at Lapa Rios. You now have 2 rotating menus with multiple options for lunch and dinner and dessert. I'm going to send out links to those after this property is over. So your clients can easily be there for 4 nights, and only on 2 of those nights they'll see the red menu, 2 of those nights they'll see the green menu. Each menu has 6 or 7 different entree and appetizer options, so lots of choice here. Again, emphasizing locally sourced, sustainable, organic food. And then the spa. Previously, Lapa Rios had just massages available in the rooms. They've brought in Katia. She is the head of the spa at Pacuare to completely redo the wellness menu. They now have a full list of body treatments, facials, lots of different massage options that can be done in the room right now. I'll send that list out as well. I've had a massage from Katia, and she is amazing. So she's training all of the new therapists at Lapa Rios as well. And then there is a new lounge and bar area. If you've been to Lapa Rios before, you might recognize, or you probably won't recognize this. This was the little Wi-Fi hut that was just off of the kitchen. It was the only area on the property where Wi-Fi was available. You kind of felt like you were doing something bad if you were on your phone checking your emails and people were walking by. They've changed that. They've really opened it up. They've moved the bar out here. And then we're looking towards the bar, but facing out is this incredible view of the rainforest canopy to Golfo Dulce. So it's just a great area to socialize, to have a drink at sunset. You can do some work without feeling like a criminal. There's Wi-Fi access here on this veranda and then going down to the pool. And you can kind of see sorry, just trying to move that. This is the new bar. This is the lounge space up here, and then down here is the pool, which overlooks the Golfo Dulce. Amazing area to take in sunsets. And then another new upgrade that they've undertaken is new vehicles for Lapa Rios. These are the newer vehicles that are used for the excursions. Safari style, really comfortable elevated stadium seating in the back, covered, flaps that come down to protect from the rain. Those are used for excursions, and then they have new 4-wheel drive vehicles. I believe they're Land Cruisers, used for the guest transfers between Puerto Jimenez and Lapa Rios. So really comfortable. I always like to compare properties like Lapa Rios and Pacuare. They have all of these elements of kind of an African safari experience with the wildlife, with the excursions being included, with having amazing guides. But there's an adventure component in Costa Rica with the rappelling, canyoning, whitewater rafting at Pacuare, zip lining, having access to the ocean at Lapa Rios, that makes them a really great option for families. So if you have, multi-generational families like grandparents who love safari and want to take their whole clan on something like that, but maybe the kids are, 6 to 10, a little bit younger, this is an absolutely outstanding option for them because you get amazing wildlife, all of these great experiences that are a little more geared towards younger travelers who maybe don't have the tolerance to sit in a safari vehicle all day while looking at wildlife. Okay, so the new rooms at Lapa Rios are the showstoppers. I think this is what everybody is most excited to see. So we will get right to that. I was trying to find an aerial view of the property to really explain where these are. Oops, let me go back. No. Okay, so if you've been to Lapa Rios before, it sits up on a ridge overlooking the Osa, and then the bungalow, formerly what we were calling bungalows, went down the hill from the main lodge towards the ocean. So in this aerial shot, you see the main lodge here. This is where the new bar and veranda is. This is the pool. Bungalows 1 and 2 are off the main lodge, and they're wheelchair accessible. So this would start with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and so on. So what Luz and what Pacuare Lodge Group did was they completely built 6 new luxury accommodation options. 4 of these are called Lapa Ocean Villas or Lapa Villas, and these have private plunge pools. These are completely new constructions. They took the place of bungalows 12, 13, 16, and 17. And these are really great for families because they can accommodate up to 5 guests, and they're separated into 2 rooms with a master bedroom and a separate living room. And then they also built 2 premier villas. These are also new constructions. They're where bungalows 14 and 15 stood. They're ideal for couples, but what is great about them especially is they connect via a doorway on the verandas. So if you have two couples that are friends that kind of want interconnecting rooms, or if you have, let's say, parents and an adult child and their significant other traveling together that maybe don't want to use a day bed, that's a really good option to book both of those rooms for them. They still have 11 of these deluxe bungalows that come with 1 king or 2 queen beds. They have indoor and outdoor showers, balconies with hammocks, ocean views. They've been upgraded with the new fans. They now have radios in them for connectivity. And they've made a lot of soft improvements, great linens, repainted the walls, just freshened a lot of them. And improvements to these bungalows will be ongoing throughout over the next few years, but you still have this incredible view. You can almost picture like a little squirrel monkey running across the banister there. Outdoor showers, really, really comfortable rainforest accommodations, which are now your entry-level bungalow. And these used to be the standard accommodation through the whole property. Of the 2 new options, first we have the Premier Villas. Again, these are the ones for couples that are great for friends sharing. Really expansive deck, beautiful furniture, beautiful hardwood from renewable sources. New in these properties in these accommodation options are the coffee nook, this huge wraparound terrace that has ocean views, a gorgeous indoor and outdoor shower that connect, hot water that's from solar power, hair dryers. This is a big thing. The new accommodation options all have hair dryers. I've been on fam trips where Lapa Rios formerly only had a couple of hair dryers. Because of the way the power was run through the bungalows, and that always caused an issue with multiple women traveling together. New ceiling fans, laptop-sized safes. They still do the beloved morning coffee delivery to all of the bungalows and suites, and it's such a joy to sit on your veranda, sip your coffee at 6 a.m. exactly the way you like it, and just listen to the entire rainforest wake up, where you'll have the howler monkeys going, and then cicadas, and then all of the birds start their chorus as the sun's rising. It's really a special experience. And these are some interior shots of the Premier Villas. You can see the really beautiful bathroom with this tile work and the cool ceiling. They have a professional photographer at Lapa Rios next month. These are just preliminary shots. We're going to have more photos soon, and we'll make those available on our Dropbox and send those out in one of our newsletters when they're all ready. The other of the 2 accommodation options are the Lapa Villas. So the Lapa Villas, there are 4 of these, and these are at canopy level, quite large, 2 separate rooms, so ideal for families, and they have private plunge pools. Which is really a nice treat to just be able to sit here on the edge, looking out to the Gulf of Dulce, completely surrounded by pristine rainforest and wildlife, but in your nice and cool pool. Features and amenities of the Lapa Villas are, like I said, these 2 separate rooms, the bedroom, which has a king bed, the living room, which has a day bed, can be converted to a day bed, and they can add an extra bed to accommodate up to a family of 5. You have your bathrooms with your indoor-outdoor shower, and then you have a really large deck space with the plunge pool. And outdoor living is one of the joys of Lapa Rios. And it has all of the same features as the Premier Villas did. Important to note is that Lapa Rios does not have air conditioning, but I've been there multiple times, and I honestly don't think you need it. Because it sits up on a ridge, it gets these wonderful breezes coming in from the Golfo Dulce. And then with these high efficiency fans, you'll be very, very comfortable at night. The rooms are completely screened in, floor to ceiling windows, so incredible views, keeps the bugs out, but lets the cool breezes in. Some shots of the new Lapa villas. One cool thing that Pacuare brought into redesigning these rooms, they work at Pacuare Lodge. They work closely with the Quebecer Indigenous community, who have a village above where the property is, and a lot of the staff at Pacuare are actually from that Indigenous community, and they do really cool fabric work with native plant fibers. You'll see the decor, the really traditional Quebecer style design work at Pacuare, and they've brought elements of that into Lapa Rios as well. So these lamps, some of the fabrics you'll see, wall hangings have all been created by the Quebecer Indigenous community. So the new tariffs through 2021 are available. We'll be sending those out after this webinar is over. And there's 3 different seasons. There's green, high, and festive season rates, different rates across all bungalows. Note that this is a really simplified snapshot of the rate sheets. The rate sheet that Lapa Rios will send to you, that we'll send you on behalf of Lapa Rios is official, has all of the terms and conditions, cancellation policies, specific rates. But you can see all the rates here are for double occupancy. They have new for Lapa Rios, which mirrors what they do at Pacuare. There are 2 green seasons, May through July, and then August through November. These usually encapsulate a period of time where you have, you have the most attractive rates due to seasonality, and you also can get the pay 3, stay 4 promotion within this time frame. So you have clients who are looking, looking to stretch their dollars a little further. Definitely suggest the green season. September, October, November is when you have a lot of the humpback whales in the area. So from a wildlife perspective, even though it might be raining more in the afternoon, it's an incredible time to be in the rainforest and down at the Osa Peninsula. High season rates, you see those there. High season is January through April, July through August, and then December until festive season, which you see those rates at the end. There are additional rates for children, triple and quad occupancy. And now Lapa Rios imposes a 3-night minimum during green and high season, 4-night minimum and festive. This is completely reasonable. I would never recommend that you go to Lapa Rios for less than 3 nights to begin with. There is just so much to do here, so many excursions, both what is included in the rate and what you can do additionally. To talk about excursions very quickly, Lapa Rios is working on a new tour book right now, which will really define the 8 or 9 different guided excursions that are included in the rate. These are medicinal plant walks, birding tours, a number of hikes throughout the private reserve, beach combing trips and tide pooling trips down along the coast, but primarily hiking tours that are led by their own naturalist guides, as well as a selection of tours with well-vetted local operators. So kayaking, the surfing I mentioned, zip lining, that meets their standards of having the necessary minimum of insurances. So that will be ready soon, and we'll send those out. Within that, you'll find information on getting to Corcovado National Park. Lapa Rios has worked with members in Puerto Jimenez of the local community to purchase a new, comfortable, fast boat. So this means that instead of having to get up at like 4 in the morning to leave Lapa Rios, if you wanted to do the Corcovado trip by car, which took a really long time, you can now leave Lapa Rios, have breakfast at a reasonable time, leave Lapa Rios by like 7:30, drive to Puerto Jimenez, pause there with an asterisk, and take a 90-minute boat ride to the La Serena Ranger Station and spend the day in Corcovado National Park. get back to Lapa Rios in time to enjoy cocktails and sunset. That is sometimes possible for the boat to pick up and drop off guests right from Lapa Rios Lodge, from the beach, depending on how the tides are. Often it works at least one way in guests' favor, where they don't have to do the trip to Puerto Jimenez. Again, it's 90 minutes by boat from Puerto Jimenez. It's around, I think, $800 starting for one person for the full day with a guide. And you absolutely need to book that in advance. Corcovado National Park has specific permits, a limited number of permits for guests. So if your clients are interested in going to Corcovado, the main attraction there being the tapirs, absolutely, when you're making the reservation, like 3 or more months in advance, let the staff know that you want to add this on. But what's next? Coming up at Lapa Rios over the next couple months and years, the main thing they're going to implement is this pathway that will allow connectivity between the rooms and the main lodge and the beach with electric carts. They're starting to work on that now. It's not all of the construction is done for the time being. So they're starting to work on the pathway, again, putting it in a place that's going to have the least impact on the environment possible, and about 250 meters from the rooms. So your clients will still have a little bit of a walk from the pathway, but it won't be via the stairs. So it will be, so it will take care of that kind of last friction point. And my understanding is that is going to be finished in April. We'll follow up with specific details when the timeline gets rolling on that. Lapa Rios is probably also going to add a few more rooms to match Pacuare. 20 rooms total, so keeping it very small, boutique, really an exclusive rainforest experience. And eventually, they'd like to do a little bit more with the water, with the beach, with getting clients to experience the magic of the marine life and the beaches of Golfo Dulce. So we'll keep you posted on what they have in the pipeline. Just a few suggestions for itineraries with Lapa Rios, how to sell it, especially if you've primarily sold maybe Guanacaste and Arenal. The southern end of Costa Rica is where it's at, from being really authentic, feeling wild, feeling like just a completely different experience, which I think that's what we're seeking when we travel. One is combining Lapa Rios with Panama. Sometimes you might have better flight options for clients going into Panama City versus San Jose. They can do 2 nights in Panama City. Casco Viejo is really fun. Fly to David and go to Isla Palenque for 3 nights. This is a private island, more of a beach experience, also part of the National Geographic Unique Lodges of the World collection. Emphasis on a lot of Panama's indigenous cultures here. And then do the border crossing with the boat, go to Lapa Rios for 3 nights, and then fly from Puerto Jimenez to either San Jose or Liberia to depart. This is a great option to book through your DMC. A lot of DMCs work. They can arrange travel in both Costa Rica and Panama, have excellent contacts there, so it can keep this kind of seamless. And if you left, it takes about a half day to travel between Isla Palenque and Lapa Rios. So if you did this, you could leave one of the lodges after breakfast and then arrive at the other in time for a late lunch. Another option is a kind of a southern Costa Rica exploration. This would be clients who want to get off the beaten path, have that luxury adventure wildlife immersion at Lapa Rios for 4 nights. And then we work with Cura, which is an amazing adults-only boutique property, sits in the hills in Uvita, overlooking Merino Baína National Park. Really stunning design, modern, minimalist, like very contemporary. The owners are Costa Rican. So combining those two, especially for honeymooners, this is a really cool honeymoon. Go to Lapa Rios for 4 nights, transfer by land, overland, or by helicopter to Cura for 3 nights. And then you may have seen that the Four Seasons bought Hacienda Altagracia, the development group from the Papagayo. So we're expecting that to reopen as something in the future. And from Cura, it's an easy 1-hour drive up into the highlands. And that would expose your guests to 3 really different, cool ecosystems at 3 very high caliber properties. So really something unique in Costa Rica that's very different from the resorts up in Guanacaste. Another option would be easy, combining Lapa Rios with Pacuare Lodge. That's very easy to do since it's same operations team and sales team that can take care of everything for you. You can do this a couple different ways. Pacuare Lodge usually requires you have to stay one night in San Jose because your transfer to the put-in point to do your rafting adventure requires an early morning pickup in San Jose. So what I would suggest is then going to Lapa Rios first for 3 nights, 3 or 4, returning to San Jose, staying one night at one of the properties that Pacuare Lodge includes the pickup at, going to Pacuare Lodge for 3 nights, doing the raft out, and then continuing from the takeout point down to Puerto Viejo, which is this hidden gem beach town on Costa Rica's southern coast. It's where a lot of local ticos go for the long weekends when they want to go to a pristine beach destination. We're working with a new property there, Hotel Aguas Claras. Do that for 3 nights and then fly back from Limon to San Jose. So that's another cool option for clients with a little more time. To wrap this up, we have a couple promotions that Lapa Rios is running right now. First, for your last minute travelers, maybe still looking for February, they're offering a 15% discount on February check-ins. So that would be for new bookings only traveling this February over dates that have remaining availability. So keep that in mind. And then the Pay 3, Stay 4 promotion, they're going to keep in place, but this is going to apply to May, June, September, and October reservations only. And as I said before, September and October are 2 of the best months to see whales. So that you shouldn't undersell that to your clients. And then how to book Lapa Rios. Obviously, we love our DMC partners in Costa Rica and Central America. So if you are a travel advisor, you can book through your DMC. If you need recommendations on who to work with, you can always contact Clark or I. We're happy to assist you with this. Or you can contact them directly, reservations@laparios.com. Phone numbers are there. And then the sales team is headed right now by Natalia Fernandez. She is Roberto's daughter. She's the sales manager. If you are a travel advisor, you may have met her at Virtuoso Travel Week last year when she was there for Pacuare. And then you can always contact us if you have any questions, you want to talk through itineraries, you need a refresher. If you want to arrange a private webinar for your sales team, we're very happy to do that. Again, I'm Kirsten at clarkcatola.com. Our website is industry facing. You'll see a page for Lapa Rios. I'm in the process right now of updating all of the sales and marketing materials on our site for Lapa Rios with the new and complete content from Lapa Rios. So I'm going to send everything from this webinar and the recorded copy of the webinar to all participants probably this afternoon or tomorrow. So that is all I have right now. If you have any questions, please enter them in the Q&A or chat feature. I'm going to leave this up for a couple of more minutes. So if you have any questions, go ahead. Otherwise, I really appreciate your time, and I hope you all have a good rest of your week.